Resident Evil 7 was released last week, and it's an early contender for my favorite game of 2017. And the first batch of DLC, Banned Footage Volume 1, is now out on PS4. But is this DLC worth checking out, or is it just a bunch of unnecessary, overpriced content? The Banned Footage DLC is 4 new VHS style of tapes that can be accessed at any time via the extra content menu once you have downloaded them. We have the first 2 now, and the second 2 will be included in Banned Footage Volume 2 coming out soon. There's also a brand new mode added to the game as well called Ethan Must Die. The 2 VHSs that we get are Nightmare and Bedroom, with Nightmare being a survival-esque game that's similar to Five Nights at Freddy's in some ways, basically 5 hours at the Baker's. You're playing as Clancy, who was the cameraman in the failed expedition to film the Baker home that we see on the first VHS tape of the game, as well as seen throughout the course of the game and is now part of the Resident Evil 7 lore, and your goal is to survive for 5 hours, facing off against hordes of the molded enemies and a few other surprises throughout, while crafting your guns and other items in order to make sure you have enough ammo and supplies to survive those 5 hours. You'll basically go around turning on machines that will create scrap metal every so often. You'll then grab the scrap metal and then use that to buy ammo, guns, upgrading your health, upgrading your weaponry, as well as a few other things that you'll be able to buy. And then your goal is just to survive for as long as you can, with the eventual goal being to survive all 5 hours. At the end of a given hour, you'll have to face off against a boss or a horde of enemies, and then if you survive, you'll move on to that next hour. The hour doesn't automatically change over until you've taken out all the enemies that are currently fighting you. As you take on the challenge, whether you live or die, you'll have a total score racked up at the end, and whatever your score is will accumulate to the mass total that you've earned through all your playthroughs, and you will earn new unlockables that then will be added to the core Nightmare gameplay, such as earning enough points so you start off with more health items at the beginning, or different guns that you don't have access to early on will now become accessible and you'll be able to build using the crafting station. If you're able to survive Nightmare, you'll also then unlock the Nightmare Terror, which is a harder version of what you're dealing with. You also get the ability, using the scrap metal, to upgrade the machines themselves to produce more scrap metal. So judging what you need to do and managing your resources are key if you're going to want to be able to survive the night. You'll have a very low amount of ammo and other supplies, especially your first few playthroughs, until you get some of the better unlockables, so picking what you actually spend that scrap metal on will be key. Honestly, Nightmare is okay. It's an interesting concept of trying to survive and basically a horde-like mode, taking on a whole group of enemies as they're trying to home in on you while also managing and crafting supplies. For some, this is going to be a really fun concept, but for me, I was hoping for a bit more story or other interesting aspects to the Resident Evil 7 lore, which we ended up getting a bit more with the Bedroom VHS. In the Bedroom DLC, you're once again playing as Clancy, and this time you're kind of strapped into a bed and Marguerite is taking care of you. Basically, she's trying to force-feed you some absolutely horrible stuff. This is more of a puzzle-like environment where you have to sneak out of bed, find different objects, interact with things in order to solve puzzles, and slowly work on your escape. Every so often, you'll set off a large noise and have to quickly put everything back in its place, get back into bed, and strap yourself in before Marguerite ends up coming back into the bedroom, and if she ends up catching you or things aren't in the right places, she'll end up killing you and you'll have to start over again from the beginning. Bedroom is easily my favorite of the 2 VHSs here in Banned Footage Volume 1, getting to see more of the character of Marguerite and some of the interaction between her and Jack and just the overall Bakers themselves, which I felt were probably the best part of Resident Evil 7 overall. The puzzle solving is also pretty enjoyable. There's a few things you gotta think outside the box kinda in order to get everything to work. They even use some more of the object light puzzles that are a big part of Resident Evil 7's main gameplay included here with this DLC. It's not particularly long. It took me about 40 minutes at most in order to figure everything out and complete it for the first time. Then there's the Ethan Must Die mode, which is probably going to be some people's favorite. This is basically a gauntlet of extreme difficulty when it comes to Resident Evil 7. All the items are placed in random areas. You'll find boxes or the crates that you'll be able to open up, and they have a star rating over them with different colors representing the rarity of the item inside. Sometimes it will trick you and have explosive boxes, so you see a 3-star item and try to open it, it blows up and you end up dying. It's pretty much the Madhouse difficulty overall, so one hit from most of the enemies is going to end up taking you down. So it's a lot of skill involved in order to progress through the course of Ethan Must Die, as you have to solve objectives, take out main enemies, and of course just do your best to survive. One thing that helps out is anytime you end up dying, an angel statue appears from where you last died. If you're able to get back to that angel statue, you can break it and get one of the items your last character had on them when they perished. From the technical side of things, there was no issues as far as the gameplay was concerned. The game ran as smoothly as Resident Evil 7's main game. Didn't run into any crashing or major glitching of any sort. Banned Footage Volume 1 is available as part of the Season Pass for $29.99 or individually for $9.99. It of course doesn't have its own platinum or anything, but it does add a few different trophies to the overall Resident Evil 7. Overall, I enjoyed Nightmare a bit, especially once I unlocked some more stuff and trying to get a high score while making it to that last moments and finally surviving. When it came to the bedroom part of the DLC, that was easily the star attraction, and I just couldn't really get into Ethan Must Die. I'm sure though some players will absolutely love the challenge that's presented with it though. With everything said, it's hard to recommend Banned Footage Volume 1 by itself. It may be one of those things where we wait for more DLC to come out, get the Season Pass, or wait for a Game of the Year version if you're going to want to play this particular content. With everything said, I'm going to be giving Banned Footage Volume 1 a 6 out of 10. But anyway guys, that's going to wrap up this review. I'd like to thank you for watching, and of course, I hope you enjoyed.